Hi, this is Todd and welcome to this episode of Reframe Yourself. This episode, I think, is important for a lot of people, and the reason why I say that is because we live in an age today where so many people look out at what other people are saying and doing and let that affect their emotions and their psychology. Now, that means that we so often compare ourselves and let what others say determine how we feel and how we behave. So if you're the kind of person that is affected by what other people say and do, then I really want you to pay attention to this episode. Now, there are people that appear to have tough shells. Words seem to bounce straight off of them, right? And then again, there are people that have what appears to be the complete opposite. Now, the fact is that no matter what kind of person you are, even the most tough-skinned people in the world with enough repetition can be broken down. And that's why it's so damn important to recognize the different kinds of feedback that we can receive from the world. Once we recognize the kind of feedback that we're getting, we can then respond in the right kind of ways. So let's take a look at the good stuff first, right? This is the strategies. This is how to think about things. See, positive feedback designed for growth is number one. See, this is the stuff, the good stuff, the kind of feedback that allows us to improve and grow as people. See, when we get feedback like this from people, quite often it's coming from a place of love and caring, and we should really do our best to allow it to take it on board and let it become part of us. An example of positive feedback designed for growth might be somebody telling you that what you just did was really, really good, remarking on what you did well, and then giving you some pointers on how you can improve and do better in the future. This is a kind of feedback that you should also aim to give to others. Because really, when you think about it, what we put out into the world is what we get back given to us. So I want to put the right stuff out. Give what you want to be received. The next kind of feedback is negative feedback designed for growth. Now, this is a common form of feedback that we get from people because we don't often know better. It's common because for a long time, we did not understand that coming straight in and saying all the things that were done poorly and then saying, don't make that mistake again, actually is a pretty shit way of helping somebody and does the opposite. See, the end result often is that people develop, negative feelings that ultimately affect future performance. Kind of like, you could say it's kind of like an insidious disease that gradually cripples your body. Getting regular feedback like this can ultimately just break us down. When we do get this kind of response from people, it's important that we reframe it in our mind, look for the positive lessons that are there, and just let the negativity go. Literally just let it go. Lastly is negative feedback that's designed to make us feel bad. Now, this is the kind of feedback that we can get from the world that is ultimately just snidey and hurtful in general. Now, this is really important to recognize here, that when people are being hurtful and talking smack about you, quite often they're just trying to fill something that's missing in them. Really, understand this. A good example could be, for example, that high school girl, right? That's always talking bad about people, whilst kind of positioning herself as being the good one. Now, in belittling somebody else, she feels like, for example, that she has power over them, which in turn makes her feel significance. Now, the reasons why they could be doing this could be anything from not getting proper love at home to, her parents could be going through, say, a relationship problem and she feels completely powerless to help them in any kind of way. And in doing this bad behavior, talking bad about you, that could make her feel powerful. Either way, if you do get this kind of flack from people, it's important to remember two things right here. Number one is that they only gain power over you if you react in the way they want you to react. And number two, chances are this person has some sort of unspoken problems in their life of which they feel they have no control over, which is then using this strategy to try to make themselves feel better. Now, this does not mean that you have to love them, be their friends, or accept them. It just means that you can now let their words bounce off of you and not give them a second thought. What people say about us can only destroy us if we let it. So I say, fuck insecure people that talk bad about others and are mean people in general. See them for who they truly are. Insecure, unable to express themselves properly, and not worthy of your time or your energy. Remember, small talk from small minds. That's all it is. You have to decide whether you will let the opinions of small minds bring you down or not. Do you want to be part of their groups? Do you really want to be friends with them at all? If not, then what they say should be as meaningful as blinking. That's right, it's not very meaningful, right? We do it all the time, we don't even think about it. So if you do want to be their friends and be in their groups, well, maybe you should take a moment to consider the kind of person you really want to be in life. Because remember, we only have one. Now, sometimes we also have people that tell us, what's possible and what's not possible. And when we have goals and things that we want to achieve, it can be hard hearing that, people think we can't do something or that it's not possible, especially when it comes from close from home, whether it's family or friends or people we really care about. Once again, we have to let their words bounce off our shield and not give it any energy. A mistake a lot of people make is trying to argue their point or, why others should accept their point of view. Remember this, what others think really does not matter in the grand scheme of things. Once you get this, it's game over. You've now won. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't respect feedback because you still have to decide what type it is and then treat it appropriately. It just means that everybody thinks things are impossible until somebody goes and does it. Do not let other people's limitations impact your hopes and your dreams. Just nod and smile and get your grind on. Simple. See, when I was 18, I was sitting in a prison cell facing a potential 10 to 15 year stretch for something I didn't do, which in itself was pretty shit. But I remember one day I had a prison guard come up and tell me that he thought that I would be going in and out of prison for the rest of my life because that's what everybody does. More people, he goes, go in and out than anything else. Now, imagine what would happen if I believed him on that day. I never would have got out and built companies that have made millions and millions of dollars. I never would have gotten out and built a life that I could be proud of. I would not be right here, right now, talking to you. I never would have gained great relationships and had good people in my life. Chances are I would have walked around with a massive chip on my shoulder and I would have had hate against the world. Remember to not let other people's opinions hypnotize you into a set way of behaving. You are too good for that. Remember this, you're too good for that, you're too smart for that. Your life has meaning and purpose whether you've found it or not, and you're more than you think you ever will be. Remember this, you are more than anything you've ever been called or what anybody has ever said about you. So as the title of this episode says, fuck what people say. Take on board the good feedback, reject the bullshit, and just get on with your life because you're worth it and you deserve to have the things that you want. So thank you so much for watching this episode. And look, feel free to share or tag anybody that get value from watching this. Thank you very much.